Hey everybody, Matt Barton here with this week's Broker Minute or Two. Hope all is going well. Hey, have you ever heard the phrase, um, not just talking the talk, but walking the walk? In my position as a broker, sometimes I wonder if people think I just pontificate on things and don't actually practice what I preach. I want you to know that I do. So I'm starting with that phrase, not just talking the talk, but walking the walk. And I'm going to finish with that point. In sales meeting this month, in case you weren't able to attend, there was, with intention, a lot of focus and emphasis on the next, starting today, like right now, through the next 3 to 6 months, is a limited window of opportunity. So if you were in a sales meeting, I'm going to just quickly touch on this, but I'll get on to my main point that's tied to it. So this is a graph out of utahrealestate.com. With data going all the way back to the first quarter of 2016. If you're not familiar with this graph, I'm going to touch on the three main data points. The blue line is the median sales price since 2016. The black line is the number of homes sold per quarter since 2016. And the green line is the amount of inventory that came onto the market in any quarter since 2016. Then you can see I have these dashed lines that kind of go through the data that kind of shows the weighted average or the average of the data points. Let's start with the blue one. You can see here from third quarter of 2022 through the most recent data coming in for third quarter of 2024, pricing has really stayed stagnant, right? In fact, the vast majority of the time it's been down. It's started to correct in the last 2 quarters, but if you take in totality the 2 years, you're talking about 1.4% growth. That's pretty anemic, right? Now, that's not my main point. I'm just going to quickly touch on these. When you look at the green line, inventory for the past 4 years has been declining. Yes, there's spikes based on the seasonality of a year, but the overall trend is inventory's down historically. I mean, if you look at this data, the last normal years prior to this red box, which is when COVID kind of kicked off, 5 years ago, 6 years, 7 years ago, we were sitting historically at about between 17 and 18,000 homes of inventory at any given time. And, our most recent data has us at 14,000, and the average over the past year is somewhere around 13,000. So we actually are below inventory. So don't buy into the hype and say, oh, inventory shot up. Well, yeah, it did, like it does every seasonal period every year. But look at the overall trend. We are still low on inventory. By the way, this data over here, that was 5 years ago. What has population done in the state of Utah over the past 5 years? So it's going to exacerbate a problem that I really want to talk about. And then, of course, you have this black line showing the number of homes sold. So why do we even care about this? The reality is money has started to become cheaper, and it's going to continue to get cheaper at least through January, February of next year, probably beyond that. And right now, the herd, as I like to call it, the public hasn't completely bought into that money's cheaper. Some people are taking advantage of it, but not a lot. At some point in the very near future, we're going to turn a corner where everybody starts to be like, "Ooh, money's cheaper than it's been in 4 or 5 years. We need to get on the bandwagon." And when that happens, when you understand this green line, that there's limited amount of inventory below what our normals should have been, there's going to be a little bit of a feeding frenzy. And so you have an opportunity with your SOI and anybody that they care about. So by extension, a lot of people, you should be having conversations with them right now about this, right? What you're seeing on screen. It's truthful, it's straightforward, it's backed up by data, and you can be either the hero or the goat. Hero if you tell them about it, goat if you don't tell them about that, and they wait until March, April next year, and they're competing with multiple offers, which is now driving this blue line back up on a growth curve. So that's the first point today. The other one, I just wanted to share a quick story related to this, and it goes back to the not just talking the talk, but walking the walk. My wife is a full-time agent. My daughter's licensed as well. So it's kind of a family business for us. I don't have a lot of time to do any production. I know it might come as a surprise to people. But we are in a phase in our life, empty nesters, we're looking for some additional investment properties. So I'm like your case study of some of your client base. And there's a project I looked at earlier this year, just happened to drive through last Thursday, and I'll just give you some particulars. Townhome in Spanish Fork. They have a number of new units coming online. It's a flagship product, and their their two sales prices, mid units and end units, are $387 and $384 respectively. They do have a program for some incentives that take that price down somewhat, but I just happened to drive through the neighborhood, saw a listing that showed up that day, just a total coincidence. Brand new, just closed on it last month. People decided not to move into it because they found a home that they wanted to buy, and now they need to pull their money out of that property. We put it under contract that afternoon. I told my wife about it, quickly ran her down there, had her take a look at it, and we wrote an offer right away, and we tied it up at $369,000. Now, don't get caught up in the number. It's just the fact that we're in this space of time where the general selling community is feeling the effects of that blue line kind of being static. And if they have any level of motivation, they're still offering incentives. So they're underselling the property. There's multiple properties they know that are at least 2 or 3 a week going out the door in the 370s and 380s, and they're selling for $369, and it has a 2.5% commission attached to it. So I want you to know, when I tell you there's a window of opportunity for people, and that next year will probably be one of those years where we're 5, 7, 8% growth in price. I haven't done this prior to the call. I'll do it as we're speaking. If I take that roughly 370,000 and multiply it times 1.0, let's say 7%, that product in a year will have $26,000 in equity. So coming back to the phrase, not just talking the talk, I'm walking the walk myself. So I believe in what I'm telling you. I hope you can see that it's backed up with facts. I hope you're taking advantage of this and communicating now with your SOI, with complete transparency, with authenticity, and saying, listen, I care about you. I care about your family and those that you associate with. Even if you don't use me, I feel it important to get this message out. The reality is they're going to use you because you're the one communicating the message. But there is really a limited opportunity. I hope you're hearing what the company is communicating to you as a realtor. This is the time to have grit and grind it out and communicate proactively. This next 6 months could be very productive for you if you do. I hope that's a good message for you today. I hope with a personal story, it puts some flesh on it. And I hope you have great success with this message as you communicate it with your SOI. Have a great week.